Alright guys, welcome once again to Crossover Pairings, where I kind of take two characters from different medias and kind of talk about what would it be like if they were in a relationship. And this time around, as you can see, Pearl from Steven Universe and Ford from Gravity Falls. What would that be like if Pearl and Ford got into a relationship? Again, this is not the first time I've had a Steven Universe Gravity Falls pairing. Mabel and Steven were first, but Pearl and Ford, like, the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, this could be a cool relationship. This could be a very interesting one too, because the thing is with Pearl and with Ford is that they're both it's kind of clear that they're both kind of emotionally distant from everybody. They really do kind of get a one-track mind on something, and when they do, it's kind of hard to talk them out of it. And furthermore, Pearl is... It's almost like she doesn't really treat humans with a lot of respect. It's more like, I'm just protecting them because Rose would want me to. With Ford, it's like, I just want to save the world from Bill and everything else that's in the world. So, with Ford, I kind of imagine this relationship not happening right away. Because again, Pearl never really considered humans to be that much intelligent to her. But Ford, on the other hand, has been kind of he never really had a lot of friends outside of of McGucket. But anyway, so with Ford, I kind of imagine how they would first meet is like Ford is investigating Beach City, in his younger years, finding all these mysteries, and he discovers the crystal gems, and where he discovers Pearl and the other gems. And I would imagine that, Pearl would be kind of taken aback of seeing a intelligent human, because, she's never really encountered a human who would be, in her book, smarter than the rest. She'd think, oh, it's a really intelligent monkey. Yeah. And I kind of imagine that, this would probably be, since I kind of imagine, it's really hard to pinpoint how old Ford would be in his younger years when he first met, and because I imagine he's older than Greg. Greg looks like he's about in his, Steven was 14, so he was 20 when he met. I'm not going to do the math, but let's just say he met, I would say that Ford would have probably met Pearl the first time around, probably a little more before, Rose and Greg met. And at first it would just be like a friendly conversation between the two. And eventually they would meet up again. And I think it wouldn't exactly be a romantic relationship at first, because I think they would be more like colleagues. I think they would be more like work friends who kind of grew into something else. Because, you see, Pearl's still kind of hung up on Rose, even though she's gone. And Ford never really... It's never been clear that Ford has never really been... He's kind of been asexual. He's been pretty much on his own. He's never really had a relationship, or even it's kind of clear that he's never really wanted a relationship, really, with anyone. So, again, this would be a working friendship where they would be, teaming up to fight monsters or something. Ford would be following Pearl around, and Pearl would be just enamored by, not really enamored, but amazed by all these creatures he's seen. And I think finally she has someone to talk science to. That's the big thing here, is that Pearl and Ford finally have someone who they can talk proper science to and not be looked at like they're crazy or boring. Because, as much as Pearl loved Rose, I don't think she was scientifically inclined like Pearl has been seen to be. So, I think, Pearl and Ford could just talk hours and hours on science and even do science things. Fucking science! Yeah. But eventually I do think this could probably grow into something more between them. I could definitely see a relationship kind of form between the two. But it would be slow. And even then, I think both of them, especially Pearl's end, I think she would be like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and she would still be thinking about Rose. And I think Ford would give her the space. I think Ford would be willing to give her the space he would give her space on letting her kind of work things out between, those moments between her and Rose, because Rose was with her from the beginning. And I think Ford would respect that, because Rose has been... Pearl and Rose were together not romantically, although it is kind of hinted at a few times before she met Greg. But yeah, it has been, noted that, they've been around since, Pearl and her were paired up on Homeworld. So, yeah, there's, I think Ford would give her the space to work things out by herself and not be too pushy into the relationship, even though I think Pearl would kind of push him away a few times, and I think Ford would really, would kind of respect that. Among other things, I can only imagine what everyone else would be saying, especially Stan. Could you imagine Stan's point of view? Like, oh great, here comes Bird Nose again. Yeah, he would even call Pearl by her name. He would just call her Bird Nose. Jeez, Bird Nose. Yeah. So that's how I kind of I just kind of imagine like Amethyst would be like, "Oh, P wants the D." Oh, that was awful. I'm going to not bring up that joke again, but I will not apologize for it. Anyway. So that's kind of how I see it, is that these two would be scientific partners first, and, both of them, like, I could imagine Pearl's idea of a date is her and Ford having a sword sparring match. Like, she tosses him a sword, and he's like, normally human dates kind of go with dinner and movies. This is not what I had in mind. Oh, shut up, you love it. That's kind of how I see it, is that rather than go on dinner and movies, it would be more like, hey, let's go hunt down a monster and kill it, or go practice with swords. Anything that would be out of the ordinary. And again, I think Ford would be open to that idea because he's an explorer at heart. Same with Pearl. She wants to, have this kind of exciting life. That's one of the reasons why she, joined with Rose. So, this would be the more I think about it, the more I really put my thought into it. I really think, this could be a really cool ship. Like, it's one of those crossover ships to me where it's like, this is my... I think the more I think about it, it's like, this is my Jack and Elsa crossover ship. It's OTP, but it'll never happen, sadly. Oh well, there's always fanfiction. Anyway. So you guys tell me, what do you guys think? What do you think it would be like if Pearl and Ford were a ship? What do you think that would be like? What do you think they would be as a couple? And what do you think everyone else would think of it? I think this would be a great ship. They're clear. I think they could really bounce off one another and have a lot of fun together. Where everyone else would be like, oh god. Anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and let me know, what do you guys think of Pearl and Ford, and what do you think of that crossover ship? Once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.